Good morning. Watching the QuantAlertsAI advanced system with unique math, unique programming, and two-dimensional smoothing, powering real-time alerts that get sent out to your phone on a custom application that we utilize to take real-time alerts from signals generated by our system, the QuantAlertsAI system, out to your actual phone. So you can go place your options, stock, ETF, or whatever type of trades, futures, wherever you want. So anyhow, I just want to touch upon, let's take a quick look at the SPY. Let's maximize the sell for a second. The nice thing about the QuantAlertsAI, I can optimize the overall indicator to about any instrument or time frame you can show me. It works on crypto, it works on FX, it works on futures, it works on, anything that you could ever trade through TD Ameritrade, or I should say the Thinkorswim platform, or maybe you're getting the signals to a phone real time and trading at Interactive Brokers or Fidelity or E-Trade or wherever. So anyhow, we're still in uptrend since the last signal, and this is just on one time frame. There's actually like 7 really good time frames for the SPY. Obviously, we're coming up near some resistance. I would typically, how I would use the tool, I would have been long, very likely on a bit of a lower time frame. This is a little bit of a structural movements time frame, a bit higher than what I like to use. But it's just something I have up on my chart to kind of see where the SPY is at. So anyhow, I would definitely be paying attention to this level right here. We have a level obviously just above that. Any press and break through those areas, what I call a levels test and then sweep, that would be an area if I had gotten into the trade and had not at all taken any profits, I would definitely consider taking some and then moving stops accordingly. Now, the good thing about this program, there's very extensive training on when you get into a signal, what's proper risk management, and then in trade management, that's all part of it. It's not just like, okay, here's a signal, go off and have a good time with that signal. That's not what it's about. It's about my over 15 years of trading and 8 years institutional side trading experience and presenting that into this overall service so we have the best market timing tool at all that's at all available. There's nothing that can beat my market timing tool. I don't care what people find, this will do. I can get time frames on instruments and settings dialed in that has less whipsaws along the way in big structural moves, but that I'm getting into the structural moves at the right time when there's enough proper confirmation, but then keeping you in those moves as they play out, which old school or typical math-based indicators just don't do a good job of. So anyhow, the other part of it is making sure you understand when you do get into a signal how to manage that trade, whether you're working some trade that's like a one-day trade, a multi-day trade, or maybe a multi-week trade or multi-month trade. Whether you're doing, a couple of day type intraday or multi-day position trading on all the way up to swing trading. So we have that covered in the training on how to handle and operate your trade once you get a signal. So yeah, SPY, definitely some key levels just above. Let's go ahead and index that real quick. So there is, recent overhead resistance. We have some slightly above that from before, back in July. This is recent early September resistance, end of August into early September. So if I'm in a trade and I push through that level, let's say we have a big up day, then from that moment going forward, I'm going to be a little bit more attentive to how I'm, monitoring the trade to lock in targets, or at a minimum into any push, what I would call a sweep of that level, especially if we have a day or a multi-day period where we sweep this level and the prior, that's an area I'm definitely taking profits, maybe at least a half to 2/3 of the trade off and let the remaining run. Then that way I've locked in a successful trade, or at a minimum, I'm moving stop up to most recent, low pivot as that's breaking through. So if I have a new pivot as it's breaking through, I would utilize that. So otherwise, this is my most recent fresh pivot, or I can use what we call the HA1 portion of the indicator. So if price over a multi-day period pushes up through these levels of overhead resistance, and we get a strong close day, or a day where we close in the upper range of the candle, and I have my plot of my HA1, in this case in red, I'm going to pay attention to that and move any stop up to that area to maximize profits in case we get some distribution into price trading to those levels, so I can lock in profits. So that's what the SPY looks like. QQQ, kind of the same thing. Getting up there where it could press higher into prior resistance and recent resistance. But the nice thing is there's another smart way to use the system. You could get into a structural trade long on a QuantAlerts bull signal, and you could also be subscribing to and paying attention to the same instrument on one of the lower time frames. And when you get a sell signal on the lower time frame, you can take profits from a trade on the higher time frame, but leave some on and move up stops. Or you can, if you're so deep in the money, let's say you took a signal, like you've shorted on this signal, and the market's down here and you're way beyond what you expected in the trade, and on a lower time frame we start getting some long signals in here, you can utilize that then just to close out the trade and be done with it. Or you can wait for a flip in HA1 to close out your trade when you're like really deep in the money, like way beyond what you ever expected. And that's going to happen a lot with this service. You're going to get into trades, especially on some of the swing time or swing trading time frames, where you're going to be in trades that go way beyond probably a lot of trades distance of price from entry point to how deep it gets in the money than what you're used to with a lot of other market timing type services. And you have a lot of flexibility. We're going to have multiple time frames per instrument that you can track and pay attention to. So you might be somebody that does really, longer term swing trading, but you can use the intermediate or shorter time frame signals to help decide when to lock in some profits or move stops. Make sense? So anyhow, there you have it. Just wanted to touch upon that. Getting flooded with emails, knew that would happen. Just wait until the word starts getting out. The service is getting launched. I'll put out some pricing here, but the first 10 traders are going to get a special one-time buy offer that will give you the tools and the alerts for a pretty extended period of time. And then once that's done, I'm getting some feedback, making some adjustments. Then I'm going to open up to another 20 at that point with a slightly higher price. So I'll probably have 3 special offers before I go to a final retail price and let it rip. And that'll all play out in the next few weeks. So those that have sent emails, stand by. I will be sending you an overview of what is the total program, what do you get, what the pricing is, and there'll be a lot more details that I'll announce here at anything related to QuantAlerts, YouTube channel, Twitter, Instagram, so on. So there you have it. Just wanted to kind of talk about one of the instruments today. If you have any additional questions, just let me know. You can always contact us at QuantAlertsAI@gmail.com. You have a great day, and keep watching for updates. There's going to be a lot this week.